ndondomeko yomwe nthambiza boma zikutsata potumikira.
Service Charter ndi ndondomeko yomwe nthambiza boma zikugwiritsa ntchito chilengedwe kuti anthu apewe mchitidwe wodzetsa kusintha kwa nyengo za umoyo, kuti anthu alandire thandizo la kuchipatala moyenera komanso mu nthawi yache, zachitetezo kuti anthu athandizidwe ndi apolisi mopanda chinyengo, kusamalira ovutika kuti athe kudziyimira paokha ndi kutenga nawo mbali pa chitukuko, ndinso ntchito za madzi kuti anthu akhale ndi madzi aukhondo ndi kupewa matenda. Ndondomekoyi ithandiza kuonetsetsa kuti anthu akutumikiridwa mosapsinja maufulu awo kuti miyoyo yawo itukuke. Pitani kuti mukadziwe zambiri za mmene ndondomekozi zimagwirira ntchito.
Uthengawu akukupatsirani da Human Rights Resource Center mogwirizana ndi makhonsolo a Dowa, Mchisi ndi Nsanje ndi thandizo lochokera ku Norwegian Church Aid ndi Dan Church Aid.
Kulipira school fees kwaphweka tsopano. Lisente fees by Airtel Money. Mutha kulipira school fees mosavuta kudzera pa foni yanu. Tsatirani ndondomeko zotsatirazi. Choyamba, imbani *211#. Pamene yomwe mutapatsidwe, sankhani 8 kuti mulipire fees. Pitirizani posankha 1 yomwe ndi sente fees. Kenako mudzafunsidwa kuti mulowetse admissions number. Kuchoka apo, mudzaona skulu yomwe mufuna kulipira komanso dzina la ophunzira. Onetsetsani kuti zonse ndi zolondola. Pitirirani ndi kuyika ndalama zomwe mufuna kulipira. Lembani pini yanu ya Airtel Money kuti muvomereze kulipira. Ndipo nthawi yomweyo mudzalandira SMS yotsimikiza kuti zatheka.
Malawi Airlines is delighted to announce the launch of a new scheduled service connecting Lilongwe in Malawi.
Atagwitse ntchito library ya skulu?
Eya, ndichina chilichonsetu. Library, labu ya sayansi, ya ICT, komanso maphunziro amakono apafoni, tablet,
Izi zinthu ndiye zosangalatsa. Maphunziro apamwamba ndithu. Ayi baja sana sankhidwe ndini madankhawa kuti kodi kadi ndipanga bwanji.
Etu, ife tonse amene tinakhonza mayeso a 8 koma sitinasankhidwe kupita ku sekondari, munasiyira sukulu ya sekondari panjira, kapena mukufuna kutsitsa mapoints, dziwani kuti unduna wa maphunziro a primary ndi sekondari unakhazikitsa maphunziro a Open Secondary Schools ngati njira imodzi yowonjezera mwayi wa maphunziro apamwamba kudzera msukulu za sekondari za m'madera athu kumene kuli aphunzitsi odziwa ntchito yawo bwino komanso zipangizo zapamwamba zoyenera pa maphunziro. Musazengereze, kalembetsani lero ku Open Secondary School ya mdera lanu kuti mupeze maphunziro apamwamba.
Uthengawu akukupatsirani ndi aunduna wa maphunziro aku primary ndi secondary kudzera ku Equals Project ndi thandizo la ndalama lochokera ku World Bank.
Hello and welcome to our today's edition of news with me, Charita Shilanga. First, let's have a look at the top stories. A plea of the 14th encourages Latvian pilgrims to seek God's strength in turbulent times. Former Deputy Chief of Staff pleads not guilty to accusation of alleged theft of German shepherds. National AIDS Commission calls for stronger stakeholder action as children lag in HIV testing and treatment. And in other news, Sudan's Rapid Support Forces to enter into a 3-month humanitarian truce. We do have the details to these and many other stories. Stay tuned. Pope Leo XIV has encouraged a delegation of Latvian pilgrims to root themselves in prayer and rely on God's grace amid the turbulent times caused by the ongoing war in Ukraine, which continues to impact their nation profoundly. Meeting the group on Monday in the Vatican, the Holy Father recorded that the occasion marked 100 years since the first official pilgrimage from Latvia to Rome. Among the participants was Latvia's Prime Minister Evika Aselina, who has led the country since 2023. We have a Vatican News report read by Fales Jizombe.
Reflecting on the challenges facing Latvia, which borders Russia, Pope Leo noted that the suffering and instability created by war in Ukraine weigh heavily on the region. In such circumstances, he said it is important for them to turn to God and to be strengthened by His grace. The Pope expressed his gratitude for the growing closeness between the Holy See and Latvia over the last few years and warmly thanked Prime Minister Selina for her presence at the audience. The two had met earlier that morning for a private exchange in the Vatican. Following her audience with the Holy Father, the Prime Minister also held talks with senior Vatican officials, including Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Secretary of the State. According to the communique from the Holy See Press Office, discussions highlighted the positive contribution offered by Christian faith and the Catholic Church in Latvia, as well as several regional and international matters, especially efforts to achieve peace and end the war in Ukraine. Turning to the spiritual theme of the visit, Pope Leo connected the Latvian pilgrimage to the 2025 Jubilee year, whose motto is Pilgrims of Hope. He reminded the group that the saints buried in Rome bear witness that hope does not disappoint, even in the midst of uncertainty and trial. He said true hope is not about having all the answers, but about placing one's trust in God and learning to follow Christ more closely. As he concluded his address, the Holy Father reflected on the meaning of pilgrimage itself. He suggested that such journeys draw believers away from the routine and noise of everyday life, offering the space and silence to hear God's voice more clearly. He invited the Latvian pilgrims to fully embrace their time in Rome, so that it may strengthen their faith and bestow upon them the peace that the world cannot give.
The trial of former Deputy Chief of Staff Godfrey Jalali has opened in Lilongwe, where he is accused of stealing 4 German Shepherd dogs valued at 4 million kwacha between September 19th and October 4th, 2025. Jalali has pleaded not guilty, shifting the court's focus to whether he should remain in custody as investigations continue. Emmanuel Jocha with the details.
State Prosecutor Felix Senzani told the court that investigations were still in progress and requested that Jalali be remanded for 7 more days. However, defense lawyer Nkwima Mchizi objected, arguing that Jalali was arrested on Friday, 21 November, and that the 48-hour detention window had already expired, warranting his release.
I believe the law is there for a purpose. It can't suit situations. So if the law says within 48 hours one has to be brought before court, they should be brought before court. So that should apply to everyone. It shouldn't even just be for people that are represented. I believe justice is for everyone. And the law is there for everyone. That's why we talk about the rule of law. So the state should not be allowed to break the very same law it is supposed to promote.
Senior Magistrate Bota has since adjourned the matter, with the bail application hearing set for Wednesday at 2 p.m. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Juocha.
The National AIDS Commission NAC has urged stakeholders across the country to intensify efforts in ensuring that children are tested for HIV and placed on treatment when necessary, amid concerns that Malawi is still falling short of target among minors. NAC Chief Executive Officer Dr. Beatrice Matanje made the call in Lilongwe on Tuesday during a press briefing ahead of this year's joint World AIDS Day and International AIDS Candlelight Memorial scheduled for Monday, December 1st in Lilongwe, Luntha, Salima, Katabe, and Mangoji. Tando Mzumara has filed this report.
Dr. Matanje expressed concern that children remain low below 80% in HIV testing, treatment initiation, and viral load suppression, far behind the global 95-95-95 targets. She said only 58% of children living with HIV are currently on antiretroviral therapy, while men continue to register higher AIDS-related deaths than women. The Commission has since urged men to get tested, start treatment, and adhere to medication, and for those at higher risk, consider pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP.
AIDS Candlelight Memorial, which happens jointly in Malawi. This event will be launched on the 1st of December in Malawi, and the launch this time around is different. We will not have one national event. We have a national event, but that has been decentralized into 5 districts. So for 4 districts, Lilongwe, Blantyre, Mangoji, Lilongwe, Blantyre, Salima, and Katabe, the event will be on the 1st of December, while for Mangoji, it will be on the 16th of December. The coordinator for these events is Manage plus Manaso, supported by National AIDS Commission, and in the districts it is the leaderships of the local councils. It's in the city and the district council, as well as the Mangoji municipality and other district councils as stipulated, that are leading the actual operationalization of the event. Why we have gone to different places is because we are targeting men, and the men are found in various scenarios or settings. So for Blantyre, we are targeting the men in the workplace, and for Lilongwe, we are targeting men in the informal sector, so the vendors and the like. In Salima, we are targeting the men in uniformed forces, as well as the Kabaza men. In Mangoji, migrant men. We know Mangoji is the hub for men that go to South Africa and all that. Not that it's the only district, but at least that's the hub. So we are targeting migrant men, and in Katabe, we are targeting fishermen. I know in Salima and Mangoji also have fishermen, and therefore the messages also go there. What it means is we do not have one single or one-size-fits-all message. We have messages targeting fishermen, messages targeting men in workplace, messages targeting the business or informal workplace men.
Meanwhile, Malawi Network of People Living with HIV, Manage Plus, Executive Director Lawrence Konyongwa, has warned that the U.S. government's stop work order issued earlier this year disrupted critical HIV services. He stressed the need for increased domestic financing and private sector engagement to protect gains made in the HIV response.
Malawi government has done a lot into the HIV and AIDS response. And if you can recall from what National AIDS Commission has told us, that the number of AIDS-related deaths has reduced significantly since the onset of HIV and AIDS in the country. That is a very big impact. This is mainly due to the fact that the country has also reduced number of new HIV infections, and that we have technologies that have enabled the whole world and Malawi to access antiretroviral treatment. So the ARVs in themselves are a very, very powerful prevention tool, as well as treatment for people living with HIV. So because of that, you know that the people that are on ART and are taking the ART and adhering to treatment cannot transmit the virus to other people. So that is a very big impact, because if people living with HIV, people that will can transmit are not able to transmit, it means we are stopping the transmission process. So that is also a very big impact that we have seen over the years. Good health for people with HIV, as well as the fact that we are able to reduce the number of new infections.
This year's joint World AIDS Day and International AIDS Candlelight Memorial Commemoration will be observed under the theme We Remember, We Lead, We Rise to Transform the Response. For Luntha News, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
The Ministry of Agriculture has uploaded the partnership between Rwanda and the Norwegian University of Life Sciences, describing it as a major boost toward improving farm productivity and promoting commercialization among Malawian farmers. Speaking during a Transform and Fuduma Dissemination Conference at the Sunbelt Capital Hotel in Lilongwe on Tuesday, Principal Secretary Elika Maganga expressed excitement over Rwanda's collaboration with Norway, saying the partnership is driving innovations that boost productivity and promote commercial farming. She stressed that agricultural projects must deliver real benefits, reach more farmers, and remain sustainable beyond implementation. More details in this report followed by Gift Kalonga.
Maganga said government is excited to see Rwanda spearhead innovations aimed at improving livestock, fisheries, and crop production. She emphasized that while the agriculture sector has seen many projects over the years, the key concern remains whether farmers truly benefit from these interventions. Maganga urged implementing NGOs to ensure that the technologies introduced are impactful, scalable, and sustainable so that more farmers can benefit beyond the project lifespan.
The Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Rural Development, we are very, very excited to see that Luntha University is collaborating with Norwegian University of Life Sciences in coming up with technologies that will help our farmers to increase productivity of the livestock, fisheries, but also agriculture production in general, that's crops, and that they are also trying several varieties of crops, including beans, which farmers can grow for own use as food, but mostly the exciting thing about this program is that farmers are being supported or assisted with thinking in a commercial way now, commercialization of agriculture, which is one of the key agendas for the Minister of Agriculture, where I want to see our farmers go beyond food security. I want our farmers to be able to produce food, but they should be also able to produce more for sale, so that they are able to generate or make more money that they can use for enhancing their livelihoods.
Norwegian Ambassador Sof Bejra said Norway is proud to support initiatives that are helping build a resilient and sustainable food system in Malawi. She noted that field visits conducted 2 months ago showed real progress among farmers and reaffirmed Norway's commitment to continue supporting Malawi's agriculture sector.
Well, it's important for me to say that Norway is proud to have been able to contribute to transform and food market and create a resilient and sustainable food system in Malawi. I actually seen some of the programs myself. I went to the field trip a couple of months ago, and I've seen the concrete results of this program, how proud the farmers are, and how much this has meant for their lives. Well, Norway will of course continue to support the most important sector in Malawi, which is agriculture. We are looking into different programs for the year to come. I'm not in the liberty to say how much or what it will be, but of course we will stay and sustain our commitment and support to this sector. It's very important.
Rwanda Vice Chancellor Professor Emmanuel Kaunda highlighted that universities' role is to generate evidence for policymakers and build the capacity of researchers. He said the FoodMA program has been particularly significant, with research efforts focusing on addressing major challenges such as fertilizer shortages and forex pressures. Kaunda added that Luana is hopeful for continuation of program to sustain and expand local fertilizer production and strengthen agricultural transformation efforts.
Our role as Luana is to generate proper information for policymakers and also to build capacity of our researchers but also of other people in Malawi. The FoodMA program has been very special in a way that we decided to look at programs of the issues that are so much of a challenge to the Malawian agriculture sector. We all know the challenges that we have in fertilizer issues. We know how it has drained our forests. And one of the projects that we embarked on was to deal with
NCA, DCA and its partners launched the Transform and FoodMA programs to address food security challenges in Malawi. Established in 2020, the Transform program aims to boost production, strengthen climate resilience, improve food security, and enhance market access for 150,000 households across Mchinji, Dowa, Kasungu, Mzimba, and Rumpi. The initiative is implemented through partnerships with AG Care, Cadicom, Find Your Feet, TAP, TCL, and Luana. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
You are watching news on Luntha Television. We will be back after this short break.
It's the 2025 Praise Experience Malawi Gospel Extravaganza, probably the biggest gospel concert of the year, live at the BICC Lilongwe, 6 December 2025, featuring 28 of Malawi's A-list gospel artists, including Miracle Chinga, Kamuzu Barracks Gospel Singers, Lloyd Perry, Great Angels Choir, Marvelous Deeds, Ande Seko, Maggie Mangani, Norman Perry, Alex Nkalo, Debbie N, Confidence Voices, Bishop Chimwemwe Muhango, Ruth Misi, Musa Bwemba, Chris Kantunze, Carlo Kadzua, Sam Maliza, Reverend Dayton Bewe, Betha Nkoma, Rudo Chakwera, Peter Mlangeni, Martha Mituka, and many more. Charges: standard ticket 20,000 kwacha advance and 30,000 at the door. VIP 50,000 kwacha, VVIP 100,000 kwacha. Tickets available at Lloyd Perry Shop, Toto Walkers, Patanki, Kabale Filling Station, Area 18 Filling Station, Area 18 Sanamu, Best Oil, CBM Superstorm Sungwi, Area 49 Panda, Nomonde Design Shop at BICC, Toto Filling Station City Center, BICC Reception, Maula Puma Filling Station, Puma Crossroads Filling Station, Kaunda Puma, Likuni Filling Station, Pamalewezi, Toto Bunda Filling Station, and Biwi Filling Station. Doors open at exactly 10 a.m. All artists will perform live, backed by the Praise Experience Band, and the entire show will be filmed for the Praise Experience Malawi Volume 2 album. So look sharp and dress for the occasion. Remember, all roads lead to the BICC in Lilongwe on 6 December for the 2025 Praise Experience Malawi Gospel Extravaganza, powered by AIA LED, Umodzi Park, TNM, and Web Tickets. See you there.
If you've just joined us, I know that it's time for news on Luntha Television. Now a reminder of the top stories. Leo the 14th encourages Latvian pilgrims to seek God's strength in turbulent times. Former Deputy Chief of Staff pleads not guilty to accusation of alleged theft of German shepherds. National AIDS Commission calls for stronger stakeholder action as children lag in HIV testing and treatment. And in other news, Sudan's Rapid Support Forces to enter into a 3-month humanitarian truce. Moving on with the news, the Minister of Education, Brighton Saka, has reaffirmed government's commitment towards ensuring that learners countrywide have uninterrupted access to education. Speaking during parliamentary deliberations on Tuesday, Msaka announced that he would deliver a ministerial statement next week detailing the government's progress on plans to abolish school fees in both primary and secondary schools across Malawi. Patrick Pupa was at Parliament and in our reports.
Msaka highlighted that removing financial barriers is essential in promoting equal opportunities for all children, regardless of their socio-economic background. The minister emphasized that investing in education remains central to Malawi's long-term development, noting that no learner should be forced to miss classes due to inability to pay school fees. He also said that government is working closely with key stakeholders to ensure a smooth transition once the policy is fully implemented.
Saying that we want to increase access to education in Malawi, secondary education. That is why we have made secondary school free. And like I said, I'll be issuing a ministerial statement detailed next week on how we are going to undertake this. And in doing so, one of the key activities in improving access is to ensure that we have adequate spaces for learning, and that is the construction of secondary schools. In 2019, we agreed with the American government to build 250 secondary schools in the country, one community day secondary school in each constituency. Only 6 were constructed, and we feel that we could have done better there as a country to ensure that we take advantage of that funding to ensure that we have all the 250 secondary schools. But our job is not to look back, our job is to look forward and make sure that in all places in the country we have adequate secondary schools. Like I said,
in addition to the planned abolition of school fees, Msaka also described that government aims to reduce long travel distances for primary and secondary school learners, stating that no child should walk more than 5 kilometers to access a primary and a secondary school.
Minister of Gender, Children, Disabilities and Social Welfare, Melina Fisher, says our ministry will intensify the enforcement of existing laws to deal with gender-based digital violence within and beyond the 16 days of activism, with a warning that her ministry will go after every perpetrator of the malpractice. The minister sounded the warning during the launch of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence at Kwisa Primary School ground in Balaga district, where she emphasized that her ministry will not tolerate after any perpetrator of the gender-based. The Malawi Electoral Commission (MEC) has reaffirmed its commitment to transparency and legal compliance by handing over the final consignment of electoral materials from the September 16, 2025 general election to Parliament for custody in line with statutory requirements. This follows an official handover ceremony in Lilongwe where Commissioner Richard Jabwedeka stressed that the exercise is a critical legal obligation under Section 120 of the Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Elections Act 2023, which mandates Parliament to keep all election records for a minimum of 4 months or longer where court petitions exist. Judith Organ has found this report.
Chaputec said the law requires MEC to surrender all ballot result sheets and related documentation to Parliament after every election, noting that the institution cannot influence the pace at which courts resolve electoral petitions. He explained that MEC compiles and submits a detailed list of all constituencies and wards with ongoing cases, and only after final court determinations can Parliament be advised on which materials may be disposed of.
The event is important because it's a requirement by law under Section 120 of the Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Act of 2023 that, after the elections, the Malawi Electoral Commission has to, hand over all the electoral materials that include ballots, result sheets and everything to Parliament for custody. We cannot push the courts on how quick they deal with the cases. So up until the courts resolves, those petitions, that's when MEC will be in a position to advise Parliament to dispose of the materials, that are concerned with those, electoral disputes.
Deputy Clerk of Parliament responsible for procedure services, Joseph Manzi, assured that Parliament has adequate and secure storage facilities across Lilongwe, Blantyre and Muzuzu, including hired warehouses that meet strict safety standards. He said all records from ballot papers to tally sheets are properly stored by district, constituency and ward and will be preserved in line with the law. Manzi added that Parliament routinely invites all relevant stakeholders to witness the disposal of records once the 4-month period expires for constituencies without disputes. He further noted that Parliament took over custody of election materials after past incidents in which warehouses elsewhere caught fire, prompting legislative reforms to ensure greater security. Manzi reiterated Parliament's full assurance that the 2025 election materials will be kept safely until all legal processes are concluded.
Yes, we have enough and adequate, storage facilities. These are not for our own. We do hire when it comes to that. So all the places that we have hired so far as warehouses to keep these materials, we are satisfied that they are adequate, but they are well secured. That's what I would be saying, both in Muzuzu, Luntha, and even here in Lilongwe. I did mention during my speech, if you heard me, the law, which is the Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Election Act, states that the electoral records should be kept for at least a period of 4 months. So we are following that law. Since we have received this, within a period of 4 months, those which do not have any court, cases or disputes, they will be.
The preservation of election records, officials says, remains central to maintaining trust in Malawi's democratic processes and ensuring full accountability in the resolution of electoral disputes. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Organ.
And in international news, the Sudan's Rapid Support Forces are to enter into a 3-month humanitarian truce followed by peace talks with the Sudanese army. In a video speech late Monday, the paramilitary commander General Muhammad Hamdan Dagalo reiterated the group's commitment to a 3-month humanitarian truce and called on mediators to pressure the military to accept the proposal. We have an African news report being read in our studios by Fales Chizombe.
The mediators, known as the Quad, have been trying for over 2 years to bring an end to the fighting and establish a path to democratic transition, which was hampered by a military coup in 2021. They are comprised of the US, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. Meanwhile, the Sudan's top general, Abdel Fattah Burhan, rejected a ceasefire proposal accusing the mediators of being biased in their efforts to end the war. Sudan's war began in April 2023 over a power struggle between the military and the RSF. The conflict has killed more than 40,000 people, a figure rights groups consider a significant undercount, and has created a grave humanitarian crisis with more than 14 million people displaced.
With that item, we've also come to the end of our today's bulletin, but let's have a recap of the top stories before we go. Leo the 14th encourages Latvian pilgrims to seek God's strength in turbulent times. Former Deputy Chief of Staff pleads not guilty to accusation of alleged theft of German shepherds. National AIDS Commission calls for stronger stakeholder action as children lag in HIV testing and treatment. And in other news, Sudan's Rapid Support Forces to enter into a 3-month humanitarian truce. You've been with me, Charity Chilanga. Thanks so much for keeping me company, and goodbye.